ولا تجهروا له بالقول كجهر بعضكم لبعض.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ICDM conference has the theme Islam for Deaf. My sincere appreciation to the organizing committee for the commitment given in organizing this conference. Without the teamwork, the conference would not have happened as it does today. So thank you so much for things that we can use in the future to make advancements when we leave this conference. To our foreign delegates, I hope you will have a pleasant stay. Marzuki, who's an organizer here, thank you so much. Inshallah, I want to thank him again. So, he's been so motivated in getting together these groups, and I hope we shall continue to work together. So, thank you to everybody, all the deaf people who've come here from so many different places, so far away, flying in. We've come for one thing, to do for Allah. That is why we're all here. And before I began this, we had this verse of the Quran, and my American team, and Muslims, used to be divided in different groups. And then Allah gathered them together.
We'll have to switch to channel 1 for English to Arabic, as well as Arabic to English. Channel 2 for Malay to English.
Your efforts are critical in guaranteeing that Muslims that are deaf and hard of hearing are included and fully participating in society. I want to especially commend the organization.
Jabatan Kemajuan Islam Malaysia JAKIM dan juga Jabatan Agama Islam Negeri-Negeri sentiasa terbuka untuk membantu dan bekerjasama dengan Persekutuan Orang Pekak Malaysia bagi terus memperkasakan kefahaman Islam warga Pekak Muslim, khasnya dalam perkara-perkara yang berkait dengan asas-asas kefahaman Islam. Syahida wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulil amin Sayyidina wa maulana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Terima kasih saudari.
Appreciation to our guest of honor, Honorable Haji Paimuzi.
Yang pertama saya berkata niat pada macam yang bersama dengan
plenary session, that is Puan Farah.
والأبصار قد يختلف أو قد
Untuk berbicara, kaki akan berbicara. Semua itu akan bersaksi ke atas apa yang dia lakukan. Sebab kalau mulut itu masih diberi berbicara di mahsyar atau di hadapan Allah, dia akan mencari peluang untuk berdalih, untuk mengelak, untuk memberi alasan. ولذلك عندما سئل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن أحسن الوصية,
saya berharap agar akta itu dapat memberi manfaat kepada golongan yang kurang bernasib baik ataupun orang kurang berupaya.
عندما يكون لديهم أصم أو سماع منذ الصغر توصلوا بالإشارة.
Satu orang pemuda Islam Malaysia sejak tahun 2013 hingga 2016, dan saya telah pun menyertai International Islamic.
نشكر ضيوفنا على حضورهم هذا المؤتمر وهم ضيوف الجلسة. بإذن الله أن تكون الجلسة خفيفة جدا ولكل شخص له
melalui diving. Sebab saya terlibat dalam dunia diving sejak tahun 2007 lagi, dan saya tahu, dan juga kita buat baru ni EFR kelas untuk pertolongan cemas. Kita ajar CPR, kita ajar cara maknanya memberi pertolongan cemas bagi untuk orang pada pekak ni. Jadi maksudnya dengan itu mereka dapat ilmu macam mana cara nak respon pada benda-benda emergency. Okey, ini antara grup muslimah diver di Pulau Perhentian, salah satu pulau di Malaysia. Okey, ini kita punya program sampai di liputan daripada media, surat khabar dan juga berita daripada TV. Paling kurang orang tahu bahawa orang pekak ni juga ada satu aktiviti diving yang boleh ajak orang lain menyertainya, dan dalam waktu yang sama kita terangkan tentang kehebatan Islam, keindahan Islam dan kebesaran Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Okey, ini antara artikel daripada surat khabar, mengenai ini. Okey, ini cuti sekolah. Kita ajak anak-anak muda, kita ajar diving. Sekarang ni pun program tengah berlalu. Pada waktu malam kita ajar cara sembahyang, kita ajar mengenai tentang maknanya perkara yang berkaitan agama. Ini nama program kita Aqua Syariah. Ini kita ajak golongan-golongan remaja. Jadi saya mengharapkan supaya golongan mana pekat di Malaysia ni, dan saya janji saya akan maknanya bersama-sama mereka ajar mereka sampai ke peringkat profesional, yang mereka pula jadi instruktor, mereka pula boleh ajar orang lain. Dan kalau ini boleh dibuat, insya-Allah maknanya bagi golongan pekat ni kita satu lagi aktiviti yang bagus untuk kita
عن مستقبل هذا الجمعية يجيب عنها الأستاذ ناصر. هذا العمل صحيح هناك تمرد قطر وإلى ماليزيا، كان هناك هدوء، أتمنى أن يعوض. سؤالي حضور لماذا أنت حضرت للمؤتمر الدولي الإسلامي بقطر؟ صحيح أنا حضرت واستفدت جدا. هنا في ماليزيا أيضا استفدت، وأيضا من المقدمين والضيوف سعدت بأن
Exercise these rights on an equal basis with others and through all forms of communication of their choice. According to the World Federation of the Deaf, the linguistic and cultural needs of deaf people are often assumed to have lower intelligence because they are denied the use of sign language starting in childhood. It's a self-perpetuating problem. Since they are assumed to be incapable of communicating, they're excluded from the mainstream educational system. Because of this discrimination, many deaf people lack the qualification to find employment or advance in a
If everybody's eaten well and you're awake and you have your sleeves rolled up and you are ready to work. So now I would like to introduce our next speaker, who is from Saudi Arabia, and maybe I'm getting the order mixed up. Okay, I'm sorry, excuse me. My brother here, he knows what's going on. You know, he's gonna slap me later, I think. So, he's from Rochester Institute of Technology, as well as myself. We both went to RIT. And he got his bachelor's degree and master's degree in public policy.
Position up here. With the interpreter set, I would like to thank you for hosting this conference. My brothers and sisters, your long-awaited work and efforts to set up this conference has been Why don't we talk about access to Islam? What does that word access mean? If you think about it, if you really look at it, that word access is a powerful thing. It's ability to train for our benefit. We must have access in order to understand. Access to education, access to the Quran, reading and understanding what it says. If we have access to education, then we can describes, and it doesn't describe how it applies, but through policy, we are able to come up with policies on how this law is then interpreted and applied. That's the idea of the policy. Given policies will impact everything and access. For example, right now this building is wheelchair accessible. They have ramps. Most of you have that because of laws that were passed. Education, also safety. I'm from Somalia, and when I moved to America 7 years ago, in Somalia, I couldn't access the university. I didn't have that opportunity. That wasn't afforded to me. I was turned down and not allowed to because I was deaf. When I moved to America, my English was not that good. I studied English. I got my bachelor's, then my master's, because America has laws under the American with Disabilities Act that required that all individuals, all institutions must provide interpreters for individuals like me. I didn't have to beg for it. It was given to me. It was my right. And that's how I was able to succeed in America and not in my country. Now imagine if all countries had those same laws, those same policies, how many of us would benefit from these challenges? Not all countries have these laws, though. We don't have that access. So, if I was to move to Islam to America, I think sometimes we get too tired of being seated, so we need to be active. Very good. You may take a seat now. Thank you, my brother, Bakrami. You can have a seat now. I know it's taking a long time for you to get that stretching done, but get it done. Can't do it all day. Thank you, my brothers. What a wonderful presentation on the CRPD and disability rights. And thank you again for your work and talking about and your efforts for policy making, policy and access. One other person here, who's deaf.
His name is Ayat Limulabi.
Maybe having difficulty with technology.
رسالتنا مؤسسة دعوية تعنى بدعوة الصم وتعليمهم أمور دينهم وتوعيتهم.
Sign language interpreters to actually do the interpreting for us in order to actually for us to get to know or to obtain the knowledge for this session that we went through. So if we're unable to do that, what do we do? So this session in the afternoon here will actually discuss all the issues and matters pertaining to sign language interpreting. And we're focusing more on sign language interpreting in an Islamic context.
I went to the World Association of Sign Language Interpreters for the Deaf in Istanbul, WASLI, World Association of Sign Language Interpreters, which was in Istanbul. Deaf and hearing interpreters all came together and we shared information and discussed. And one of the issues we looked at and I got from that had to do with two cultures that are, and how we So, I talked to some of these members. There was 13 years, 13 to 16. The interpreter knew that in Islam, the doctor said no, they had to be above 16 to get free. For a really, excuse me a second. So we have to know the Islamic culture, but also the culture of the ice. Okay, London in America, you remember you're looking up and it's cold and you're in the ocean, you're looking up and you see this little thing floating out of the water and you think that, oh, that's nothing, and all of a sudden it starts to grind into the boat. You know that story, right? Like the Titanic, the boat and they see the tip of the iceberg. So a hearing interpreter, deaf interpreter, doesn't really matter which one, they know Islamic culture and they know deaf culture and sign language to some extent, and they think that's just what they see on the top, the conscious visible part. However, that's all they see. So they don't see what's underneath it, the subconscious part that is only partly visible. And that they don't see the depth of the culture, fasting and the 5 daily prayers and things like that. They haven't internalized what all that means within the Islamic culture. They just see the tip of the iceberg, and they're not seeing everything else at a deeper level, that is underneath that. And there's a lot of information there. Interpreters sometimes will start to voice interpret and they'll run into problems. They start to choke up their words a little bit. And so it's important to
see. But I do want to drive home an important point that we do have specific tenets, and you can see that there's 7 of them. Interpreters receive information and then are to relay the information and not share that information outside of that environment. So confidentiality is one of the most important tenets. Second, in the Islamic community, oftentimes we don't know about Islam, and we come into this environment without ill-prepared to be able to understand and interpret. If we don't have this skill, we should not be accepting that kind of assignment. That is one of our tenets. The third tenet, I can give you an example. Platform interpreting. It's appropriate to be a platform presence, not chewing gum or inappropriately dressed or chatting. And there's a certain decorum or behavior. Maybe your more casual behavior at home. This is in front of an audience. Those are the 7 tenets of the CPC. As the third one is transparency, which means what I hear and decide not to share with them is unethical. I need to be transparent in all that I'm taking in so that the deaf consumer that I'm working with understands the language, also the environment. Hearing interpreters oftentimes will interpret. They may hear something and share that additional information. If there's a comment made about the deaf person, it is up for them to decide whether or not to share the information.
And also have it in mind so that both parties will actually work together. Perhaps what being shared is a good thing.
Where do I stand? I'm not sure. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. This is deaf interpreting, Ajuma enrichment. Thank you all. My name is Sarah. I am a sign language interpreter and also a presenter for this event, and I will be presenting now. I'm very happy to be here as part of this gathering. The deaf community has a life experience of teaching, interpreting, and presenting. Does everybody have deaf interpreters in your different countries? Deaf interpreters that have not yet come to equal. As a deaf interpreter, I have a more native sign experience through my own life experience as a deaf person. I've learned the strategies of communicating with interpreters. without interpreters, in school with interpreters. In my culture, I already have that same experience as like intuitive, similar to what Nicola explained, saying that I'm deaf, she and I'm deaf. When we look at each other, there's a bond that transcends the culture, the language. And also deaf interpreters can work more with where hearing interpreters are more limited because of their cultural limitations, their cultural experience. Deaf, is a great example of an agency, an international organization, that they should have more local presence and be able to use that, where we can use deaf interpreters more. Come on, make it happen for deaf interpreters, spread the word.
That the interpreters who are interpreting could be delivering it very much equivalent to the presentation.
المحاضرات التي قدمتها عن المترجمين لغة الإشارة، ويجب أن نقل معلومة بشكل واضح وجيد. هنا في مؤتمر الدول الإسلامي لدي سؤال، أنا كمترجم وشخص أصر أعطاني معلومة ووصلتها كمعلومة، لكن لدي سؤال، هل إذا أعطاني الشخص المعلومة وصلها لشخص آخر بأشياء محرمة، هل أنا أكسب ذنب؟ وهذا هي المعلومة.
You have the interpreter there, and they say, you go interpret this thing. That's your job. You just interpret it. And so you go over there, and you see it's a Catholic Mass or something like that, or Christians. What do I do as an interpreter? Do I say, oh, I can't do that? I mean, if you're going to see you're going to a church, if that's something you're not comfortable with, you just don't necessarily go in. You don't necessarily take something because you're told to take it. If you had information about the sign ahead of time, you can say, I'm not comfortable interpreting that environment in a church or whatever, and you can say, here's another resource for you to do, but there are not enough interpreters. They can make me do that. Can I add something? Assalamu alaikum, Jaya. So, everybody, I disagree, and let me give you my reasons. In the West, in the Western world, in Europe and America and Canada, for example, the interpreters have been through training, and they're qualified interpreters. And they do interpret everything in various public and private situations, and they have their code of professional conduct, the tenets they're supposed to follow. Whether they might be in hospitals, they might be in schools, it might be a religious environment, and still it's my ethical duty to relay the information that has been, it's not my role to decide what is good and what is bad, to judge that or to discuss that. That you have to give that to the other person, and if later, if it's the person might go to jail or in a mosque, or I have to have faith that sometimes I have to hold those things into myself because I have to follow.
I'm in America, in the US, and there's lots of different interpreters that I've worked with. Muslim, Christian, all different kinds. And when they come to interpret, they must follow their professional code of conduct. It's their ethical code as an interpreter. I cannot apply my values, my religion, my ethics to them in their interpretation. They provide that service. If it's an Islamic event, I can't change them. I can't tell them what to do. I can't influence them with my religion. as an interpreter if they don't want to take the work, working in an Islamic.